Naraka Blade Point is a third-person battle royale fighting game made by 24 Entertainment. It was released in 2021 and is now available on PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and it's also on Microsoft Game Pass. I've played Naraka for a total of around 5,000 hours. It has a unique approach to its combat and movement system, and this sets it apart from every other crowded multiplayer genre I've ever played. Naraka's main game modes are its battle royale options in the form of solos, duos, and trios. Solos and trios being the main competitive focus. You know how this goes. Be the last man or team standing, you win the game. In Naraka's Battle Royale, you have one rebirth, meaning if you died early on in the match, you have a chance to go to any soul altar and respawn and try to gear again and play your life out. Every so often, portals will spawn all around the map. These are called Gates of Yang. Basically, think of this as like a gulag from Call of Duty. Once you enter the portal, you're now forced to take an isolated 1v1, 2v2, or 3v3 team fight, depending on the mode you're playing. The winner of the fight in Yang will then be awarded a chest that has a guaranteed purple armor and weapon with a limited time buff that lasts for a couple minutes. These buffs include a Phoenix buff, meaning if you die while the buff is active after leaving the portal, you won't lose your items on death, and you can choose to freely respawn around the map at any of the soul altars. The second blue buff acts as sort of a radar, pinging any players that are close within range to you, allowing you to see their bodies through walls for a short period of time every so often. Throughout the duration of the buff, you're also given a significant damage reduction while it's active. The last buff, Draco Storm, strikes nearby enemies with lightning every so often, staggering them and doing damage as well. There are also limited time game modes changing every week. This includes a PvE mode with pretty fun boss fights that have crazy mechanics to try and counter. Also, we have a free-for-all game mode to get to practice your combat and movement with unlimited respawns. There is also a free training mode where you can practice on any hero and weapon with unlimited cooldowns on abilities. The skill expression Naraka has through its 14 different heroes with multiple different abilities and ultimates give you unlimited combo potential. And its unparalleled gravity-defying movement system is, for me, what makes Naraka a hidden masterpiece. You can jump right into Naraka and mash away with all the weapons and have a good time. But once you run into an experienced player, you notice it's not as simple as you may have thought. This either turns players away or motivates them to improve and become better at the game themselves. For me, practicing, learning new mechanics, finding different techs and ways to incorporate them into my playstyle, and seeing myself improve constantly over time was the best part of playing Naraka. Still to this day, 5,000 hours later, I'm still learning and trying to be the best player I can be. Its combat system is something I would simply call fun, but more importantly, limitless. It never has to be the same. To break it down simply, you have light attacks. These lead to some pretty nasty combo setups that could quite literally end a fight if your opponent has no combo breaking abilities. We also have blue focus attacks. Think of these as heavies. These do large amounts of damage that chunk your enemy's health bar. We also have counters. If this is where you red flash, basically. If you time a counter on your enemy's blue focus, you will disarm them, dropping their weapon and giving you a follow-up, doing lots of damage. If you're in blue focus, you won't be able to be caught by light attacks, so being in blue focus is a way of armoring and playing defensive. You also have different types of dodges. Firstly, hold dodges being your fastest dodge, good for crossing your opponent or creating space and whiff punishing. We also have tap dodges, this being your slowest dodge, leaving you the most open to be punished if it's predicted by who you're fighting. However, it also has the longest iframe of any other dodge, meaning it can be used to get you out of really bad situations sometimes. There are other types of dodges, but they're a little more advanced and not super necessary to get into in this video. Actually, a buddy of mine, Trago, made a video going over all the different types of dodges. I'll link his video in the description below. If you're interested, definitely go check that out. Naraka's main combat comes from its 8 different melee weapons. This includes longsword, my personal favorite, katana, greatsword, spear, staff, dagger, nunchucks, dual blades, and blood ripper. But I don't really count blood ripper because you can only get it from chests at the final circle. There are also currently 7 different range weapons, this being repeating crossbow, musket, cannon, pistol, bow, swarm, and flamebringer. Every weapon I just mentioned also has multiple different soul jades in-game. These soul jades are purple and gold. They will alter an attack on your weapon and can be found in chests and treasure troves around the map. This game can be as tryhard or as casual as you want it to be. It really comes down to you as the player. However, due to our player base not completely thriving right now, this is one of the downsides. If you are playing ranked, even at lower ranks, you can get matched with pro players. Try not to let this push you away. As the community grows, the matchmaking will balance itself out. Right now, you're being thrown into games with them because they wouldn't get games otherwise. Currently, I feel Naraka needs more marketing with their big announcements to get people excited. They currently have a partner program that pays their partners to make content for the game, but we, as a fairly small community, can only do so much and are actively trying our best. I've heard talks of a possible pro league coming to Naraka in the coming years. This is just a rumor as of right now, but I feel it's pretty credible from who told me. And we also have weekly tournaments you can compete in for a chance to earn that extra money if you play well enough. This comes in the form of community ran tournaments that all have cash prizes and promoting through in-game mailing systems. And all community tournaments are posted on the official Naraka Twitter to get people to sign up. We also have official EGL tournaments, if not weekly, bi-weekly for both solos and trios. Every year there are 2 big tournaments for Naraka where if you manage to be top 3, you are eligible to have the chance to get to go compete at Worlds in China for a large amount of cash. Why am I telling you this? Simply to stop what others are telling you. Yes, our player base isn't the best right now, but to say this game that we all either love or hate is going anywhere is simply not true. I believe Naraka will be around for a lot longer than people give it credit for. However, there are a few things I don't like, but ultimately, this is just my opinion. Firstly, there is a $20 paywall with a battle pass every season. New cosmetics added every patch that cost just about as much as the game itself. And a limited time treasure chest gamble every season. Now I will say they do a really good job on the cosmetics they add into the game, and thankfully there is no pay to win in Naraka. But there definitely is a pay to look cool. Well, that's not entirely true. After all, Naraka actually has one of the most free and creative character customization options of any battle royale I've ever played. With unlimited options to change how your character looks. I mean, you could literally look like Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z. You want to do that? Go for it. Didn't sell you? Alright, how about Zoro from One Piece? Jokes aside, there seems to be a lot of controversy around Naraka going free to play. I personally would love to see this happen, but only if it's announced with something huge. like PlayStation or mobile release, and great marketing to go with it to really get people excited, both new, veteran, and returning players. Anyways, focusing more on the gameplay, it's not uncommon to lose your fight simply based on not having the same knowledge as the person you're fighting, and can be quite a bad feeling when you can't seem to figure out where you went wrong. Thankfully, NARAKA has one of, if not the nicest communities I have ever been able to be a part of, and most every streamer or top player will answer your questions and help you, myself included. I'm live almost every day over on Twitch at PastDue. There are also custom lobbies going on with pretty experienced players at just about all times. This is a good way to make new friends and learn and improve quicker by getting that experience from people who will almost always try to help you. When NARAKA is being played at the highest level, depending on the hero you're playing, you're usually allowed to make 1 to 2 mistakes in a fight, if you're lucky. 3. It's not unheard of to get caught one time when your ability is on cooldown, and to be hit with an uppercut, you might never touch the ground again. These uppercuts are usually performed after catching your opponent with a light attack. Most melee weapons have very simple combo strings. Usually it's as follows: light, light, blue focus attack. So 1, 2, 3. Unless you're playing greatsword, in that case, it's light, heavy. Every melee weapon also has different stages of blue focus. First stage and second stage on pretty much every weapon, except greatsword also has a third stage triple charge. These attacks, when held, are usually countered on prediction. Whereas the light attack 1, 2, 3s, these combos can oftentimes be parried on reaction. I'll be completely honest with you, if you want to become good at this game, it's a process. It's going to take you a lot of deaths, thinking, time, and practice to get where others are at. Nobody gets on this game and is just instantly insane at it. Your skill comes from hours of practice. I would also like to go over group combat. It's not impossible to 1v2 or even 1v3 in this game. For example, say you're alone and all 3 players release a blue focus on you at once, and you time that perfect counter, disarming all 3 of them and manage to pick up a kill on one of them. Something as small as that could make that impossible situation seem winnable. In this game, yes, you can lose very easily if you make a mistake, but that doesn't mean you don't have a chance. There are often times you see players 1v3 even at the highest level. Visually, NARAKA is a very beautiful game. However, unfortunately, most people often play on the lowest settings to increase FPS, and it's understandable why. Having as much FPS in a fighting game such as this is very important. Performance-wise, I won't lie, I don't feel it's the best. I have a pretty good PC and oftentimes feel like even I may need an upgrade. My frames drop without fail anytime I go to the center of the map where most of the players usually drop, or anytime there is a group fight happening. But even with that being said, I still have a ton of fun. Due to our lack of players, it's not uncommon to have fairly long queue times at the highest rank, sometimes even in the lower ranks. But this is only if you want to play solos. The duos and trios game modes are pretty much always consistent with getting games quickly. As far as progression goes, you start out a little bit at a disadvantage. You don't actually have all your talent glyphs until I believe you're either level 46 or 48, I don't remember. Basically, this means you might have 1 less dodge than the person you're fighting, meaning you run out of stamina faster. This is something I actually dislike and wish everyone just started with. These glyphs you level up by using an in-game currency you only get from playing the game and completing challenges. You can use this same currency to unlock new heroes in the game, or you can use a premium gold currency purchased with real cash to unlock those heroes as well. that's usually not worth. Personally, I believe Naraka is enjoyed most once you get past the initial skill curve in the game, and understandably so. Being at the bottom and not understanding what is happening and dying constantly can be quite frustrating and demotivating. Who wouldn't get tired of that? However, being at the highest level of gameplay I don't think is the most enjoyable either. From my personal experience, and other top players seem to feel the same way. I think the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle, where most our players will probably be at. Naraka is constantly being updated with balance changes. New weapons and heroes are almost always being hinted and showcased. They manage to keep us excited for new things coming into the game. So, is this game worth playing in 2023? Well, it definitely depends on what you're looking for. Naraka Blade Point is not your typical fighting game or battle royale. It's something completely unique, and I've never played anything else like it. It's very complex, with a skill ceiling some may never hit, myself included. Even though it can get quite frustrating at times, I still believe it's not too late to give Naraka a chance. Me personally, I love the game and the community, and would love to see it do even better. Naraka goes on sale regularly and can be enjoyed semi-casually. The game often does free-to-play weekends, so that's another way to maybe check it out. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this even a little bit, let me know in the comments below. If you actually made it this far, you're a real one. Thank you for always showing support.